Jema, today we are going to listen to the 29th chapter of Roaring Silence, Being in Awareness. Once I was at Kedighat, a small hamlet just on the banks of river Narmada, in an ashram called Virakta Kutiya. It is known among sadhus in its name because they entertain only those sadhus who don't take, keep, or touch money for whatever reason or purpose. This ashram has an interesting story. The founder of this ashram is an Avaduta who throughout the life never used any cloth other than kaupina, like Maharishi Ramana of Arunachala. But the state is different. The Avaduta in his young age was the only son of a rich landlord, but right from his childhood he had enormous physical strength. He was able to lift many times heavier weights than other normal human beings would do, easily without much effort. In normal world, if someone sees a child, they will just make use of it. But his parents, who had some scriptural knowledge through satsang, saw it as abnormal physical strength and wanted to make sure what it is actually. They consulted many doctors. No one was able to give them a convincing explanation. In the meanwhile, a sadhu of conceivable attainment came asking for bhiksha in their house one day. After due hosting, the parents of the boy asked the sadhu about this abnormal phenomena they see in their son. The Mahatma said this boy is a yaksha, a demi-divinity, who by some misdeeds became a human being. That is why he is having such body powers. They brought the boy in front of the sadhu with some kriyas. He confirmed. His parents wanted to know is there any redemption for this, so that they may be helpful to make him free from his human clutches. The sadhu said yes, if he can do some beneficial work to sadhus, he can get redeemed off. After hearing this boy, 15 years old then, left his home, came wandering to Gedighat. There he took bath in Narmada. He got some inspiration. He decided to stay there, taking shelter under a banyan tree. He stopped wearing clothes and started to remain in Kaupina. Goes once in the morning to the nearby village called Barwa, a bazaar nearby, eats whatever he gets as bhiksha, comes back and just remain under the shadow of the tree. One day, an idea struck him. Why don't we make a kutia? But the place was low-lying. During rain, water logs. So even without his knowledge, he started lifting big boulders from Narmada. Within 1 week, he gathered more than 50 tons of stone and mud, put it all together and made a raised platform like a mountain. Then upon that mountain, he started building a raw room-like structure, but all these while he was not aware of what he was doing. So finished building the room. But by providence, after the completion of the room, he was not willing to use it for himself. By chance, a sadhu came and said that he is in search of a place for his stay during Chaturmasya, that is the rainy season. The Avaduta, with happiness, gave the kutiya to that parikramavasi. He himself continued under the tree. But his small action did wonder in the Avaduta. Due to the merit he acquired by submitting his kutiya to that parikramavasi, Ma Narmada blessed him with enlightenment. Till now, no passerby ever noticed how such a kutiya was built by a man single-handedly within a short time. Then everybody came to know about him, and his devotees built him this ashram. So the yaksha actually in the body of human, God himself absolved of his sins because of a meritorious deed he did unknowingly in the name of sadhus. It is a testimony even today. It happened in the year 1950 only. So Narmada itself is a Siddha Bhumi. Adding to this place is a Siddha Sthana. So it is a double beneficial place for effortless sadhana. So I chose this place to do my 14th Purascharana of Shodashi Mantra of Sri Vidya. It is a beautiful place near Omkareshwar on the north bank of Narmada. Few rooms equipped with our basic needs for the stay of sadhus or sannyasis to do their sadhana and food, etc., was arranged by the ashram administration. I stayed at the small kutia made by the Yaksha incarnate Avaduta, and it was vacant after his samadhi. It was renovated recently and maintained by his devotees. A samasan, that's the graveyard, is near the kutia, being used by the villagers. Near and around, an unconventional sadhu, calling himself to be Swami, was staying at the samasan with his pet, a monkey. I was enjoying my japa purascharana with an added exhilaration of never before. My spiritual brother, Swami Abhayananda, was also staying in the main ashram, which is a little far from this kutia, where I need to go to take my bhiksha daily. Days were passing smoothly without any involvement or disturbance from others. Whole day I kept myself merged in japa sadhana only. Occasionally few villagers visited upon me, but I felt it to be bit irritating. An ideal and quiet atmosphere was prevailing all over. But even Satya Yuga cannot remain forever. Testing time, that is Kali Yuga, descent upon. I got disturbed when there was a quarrel erupted between another Swami staying in a nearby kutia of his own. He had just returned from Uttarakashi, expelled after being served as a kotari for a long time in one of the well-known ashram there. Since last few years, he was staying at his kutia here for his sadhana. A part-time tantric too, who tested his hand in some petty issues like childlessness, love matters, mostly betting. Like international politics, interstate politics, this is inter-ashram politics. Reasons behind such things will always be some tale-bearing villagers of vested interest with greed. But the victims ultimately, the peace of sadhak staying there, only goes into pieces, last disturbed. As I already said, this place has certain specially charged powers, both Siddhabhumi and Siddhasthana. So anything said, did, given, thought, practiced gets added and quick results and benefits returns. So people living settled here in the garb of sadhus were exploiting this aspect with black magic to their favors. So the Mahatma in this picture gave some tantric mantra to some of his devotees, through which this fellow was earning through gambling and betting, which is a menace in this area. When the money comes in an unethical way, it will be spent also in unrighteous way. So even though he was getting good money out of betting, his family character started deteriorating. Children, young boy and girl, started developing suspicious habits. Wife too started using alcohol because the money was not earned in unrighteous means. Nevertheless, Baba was getting his share of money. One day the devotee by chance came unto me and told all the stories. See, you already doing japa of black magic, mantra of tamasic nature. If you value peace, but not money, I'll give you a solution. But you have to lose your money. Your previous mantra will not work. The man knew the value and price of peace, so he said, Swamiji, you just pull me out of this hell. I'm ready to forgo any money. I prefer to be laborer, but I need peace. I gave some sattvic mantra. In 1 week, he regained his mental poise and willpower. When you decide to walk in the path of righteousness, destiny also come to help you. I stumbled upon some ginning mill owner in search of some good man for his manager's post. I suggested this fellow to him, and he was appointed and satisfied also. Afterwards, he stopped visiting the tiny tantric who introduced him in tamasic mantra. Any tamasic mantra, if you don't do japa, etc., it will harm the guru. So the sadhu started facing troubles of sorts. I was not aware of all this turnaround. As his tamasic mantra was blocked by sattvic mantra, he who is now doing sattvic mantra was safe on the power of the new mantra itself. But the guru came under grind. He did come to know all that happened from others, not from the parties concerned. So he fixed the blame upon me for his own downfall, started a smear campaign against me, tried all the tricks under his sleeves to get me done out of there, as he was using that blacklisted mantra very well to his favor, and now it is blocked and his retrieval was a remote chance. The deity started harassing him, but he himself was not able to come face to face with me, thus he was fumbling for days. Finally, he came to the verge of breaking down. One day early morning, I was going to Narmada for a bath. This tantric was standing right in the middle of the way and started calling words. I asked patiently why you are doing so, what harm I had done for you. But he was not in a mind to even hear me, so furious. Hearing the high octave voice, Abhayanand came running from the main ashram to see what was going on. He understood the real import of doing so. His one pointed agenda was to keep me out of KD Ghat, for he smelt a danger for his network of Sartoria's betting syndicate. He also lost a good contact. If he goes out and spread out his secrets, it will become still more damaging. Abhayanandaji involved in solving the issue and discussed with Swami and villagers, which I disliked. I told Abhayanand not to involve, as it may disturb the serenity attained of both of us, but he was not ready to hear me, as the Swami in quarrel was known to us since long. Somehow, with his tactics diplomacy, Abhayanand solved the problem, and clouds of Ashanti were cleared. But the peculiarity of these clouds of Ashanti is when it rains, it won't make the earth wet but dry. So, as the after effect of being a party to the situation, mental equilibrium got disturbed, rather lost. I had to toil hard to regain it, and we did it too. A Naga sadhu, staying in a nearby kutia, had a mala made of copper in the shape of small skulls which resembled the same mala which my Guruji gave me during my stay with her in Mugambika forest, which I gave to Mohi, a disciple in Maharashtra, to whom I did Purnabhishekam in Sri Vidya. That mala looks like human skull with 54 such three-dimensional beads, which became a fascination in my mind. I requested that Nagasadu to give it to me, but the reply was negative. I started pestering Abhayanand to make it mine by any means. He knows my basic nature. If I am bent to get something, even out of fascination, this way or that way, I manage to get it. This skull like mala made of copper, which resembled the mala which my Amma gave me, it somehow aroused in me the thoughts of past, made me nostalgic. And there was no chance of leaving it, for after such a long, I came across a unique thing. Abhayanand applied his tactics very diplomatically, managed to bargain the mala, paying 200 rupees. I was so happy to have that mala in my hand. In spite of the unwanted encounter with an other sadhu, our days went very smoothly at Kedighat with proper sadhana, discussions, long walks on the banks of Narmada. Abhayanand used to visit Omkareshwar, not far from where we stay, to meet his Guruji occasionally. My Japa Purasharana was almost nearing its completion, but this time there was nobody to sponsor a havan, and it was immaterial on the banks of Narmada. Ashram also does not permit such rituals, which was against an avadutahood, nor common feeding done. Doing japa without break, with full devotion and shraddha is enough. So Abhayanand suggested, if you are unable to do havan in its concluding phase, 10% more japa could be done in addition. He knows such rules of scriptures, which was a help to me always. I was never particular in following all such rules, but he insisted me to follow. Rather, he quarreled with me sometimes if I failed to follow the orders of the scripture. Of course, such scoldings from a dear friend was only for my betterment in successful sadhana. I completed my Purishcharana, and by now Abhayanand told that he has to go to Rishikesh for some contingencies. So my company started disintegrating. I lost interest to be there without a backing, so I decided to move to Indore where I could do something about my stagnated research work. I too was ready to go to Indore to stay with another friend Baba of Anandamai Ashram to continue my research works in Sri Vidya. Abhayanand also left for Rishikesh. Baba at Indore Ashram welcomed me happily and arranged for my long stay in the room where he stayed for a long time. It was with a bedroom with an attached bathroom, a puja room, and a drawing room. I have taken up the works on Chitti Yantra. A yantra was drawn on 6 by 6 feet wide copper sheet, spending more than 5,000 rupees. Baba arranged the amount through some of his devotees, and I started applying myself by doing japa, practicing certain rituals on Chitti Mantra. The whole night I did sadhana, lot of japa, continuous reading, analyzing, meditating, thinking, discussions on practical aspects of experiencing the awareness of being. Daytime, I slept. Every morning, I had a walk for some time in the beautiful garden in that ashram. One day, I saw a small, beautiful butterfly with wonderful designs on its wings, laying dead on the ground. I felt a thrust of some unknown pain in my heart and took the body of that butterfly in my hand and was moving towards my room. On the way, Baba and one of his disciples were sitting on the veranda in front of Anandamai Ma's Mandir. I went near to them and asked, as if prompted by some power within, I asked the doctor, Sir, could you certify whether actually this beautiful butterfly is dead or some aspect of its existence is there which could be retrieved back? He looked at it, touched, and told, Yes, it is dead in all aspects. But tell me, Swamiji, what are you going to do with this dead butterfly? Or what do you want to know or want to tell us with this? Or what you want to prove? Baba was also very curiously looking to my face and to hear my reply. I told the doctor, See, even though it appears to be dead, in our scriptures, in the instance of dying of any creature, among many aspects of existence of being, in a particular body of creature only, main aspect called prana, leaves the body immediately. But so many other aspects are there which takes more time to leave the body. So I feel that subpranic aspects like subatomic particles should definitely be in its body, out of which only the nature arranges for the next body of that soul. Like we never change body for every cloth we have, we change the cloth as per the body. So in a biological existence out of 16 elements, only one element, life force, prana, we get exhausted, the allocated quota, others are in dormancy. So if we might be able to identify them, we can infuse prana, vital breath from outside. I was going on talking as a mad guy. The doctor, along with Baba, perplexed, but they were not able to deny me either. But the doctor hooked me, saying, Can you identify? Do you know anything constructively? By reflex, I said, Yes, I have not yet demonstrated it ever. I believe in the words of Scripture. They never say anything misleading. So, what I have read in Scripture should happen. I do have unfailing knowledge, not experience. The doctor said, You demonstrated now to the extent possible. Now I came to awareness and thought why such a situation should arise abruptly. It is not a miracle, it is just a scientifically established process. Some voice from inside you should help prove you believe it is the truth. With some conviction from nowhere, I said, Give me a day's time. I need some data in this regard. With that, may be able to locate that. Surely tomorrow morning on your visit to the ashram, I will show you a wonder. This butterfly should fly. He told, Impossible. Dead things never come back to life again. I argued, Your science can declare this one as dead because your science has its own parameters. But that it has its own limits, and more than constructive, it is destructive. It is not an inclusive system of knowledge like Vedas. For us, the Shakti Shataks are taught not to believe death as ultimate, but a phase of evolution because manifestation never happens in phases or steps. So we don't believe one is dead until some other factors are also not met. So we do the Shraddha, etc., even after one has passed away, so that atom, that is Parama Anu, might definitely have been existing equally in both dead and living things, which we call Amma. With the strength of the Sanktana Viktana theory, I will bring it back to life. Meet me at my room tomorrow morning. With farewell, we did part. Now it became an unexpected, self invited challenge to me to establish science of spirit is superior to the science of materials matters. I went to market with Brahmachari Kannaya and brought a small glass box in size with a hole on the top of it. I kept the dead butterfly in it and kept it in my puja room. Right from doing so, my whole being started hovering over the thoughts of the butterfly. So to say, I was almost possessed by the thought of reviving the butterfly with a second birth. After the doctor left, I came back to the room. I had some flash like inspiration about some red mantras, kriyas, and rituals, etc., like forgotten government files. I stung them all into some logical sequence and order. All came by themselves, virtually without any effort. I started applying them. Here I cannot explain all those mantras, rituals, etc., for this is not the context. The whole night, sending vibration of sankalpas and japa mantras through the whole of the glass box where the butterfly was kept. A particular mantra I used to do it. I believe in scriptures and my Guru Mandal, which never liked to see me fail. I do not know when the night passed, but I was still immersed in my world. It was early in the morning that the doctor and the Baba came to my puja room. I could easily see a question mark on the face of the doctor. Of course, Baba too believes in Mantra Shakti, but the application is unattempted one. Scriptures say, Mantra Jnanam Achintya Shaktihi. Immense are the powers with mantras. When both of them sat comfortably in the puja room, I just opened the glass box in which the dead butterfly was kept, and with prayers to my Guruji, I just clapped once. Alas, the butterfly moved its wings and took off in the room and fell boom down to the floor after a sortie, like a failed Indian satellite. I took it and checked. Yes, the prana shakti was out of it. The doctor and the Baba congratulated me for this wonderful success in bringing the butterfly back to life through method prescribed by Mantra Shastra, which was amazingly encouraging one. That too without any proper guidance, exact knowledge, preparation, etc. The feat was accomplished. But the fellow lived only for a few minutes. They wanted to know the reason why it did not live for longer. Even though I felt sad for its death, I could understand the reason for it. By now, I also felt deflated. It may be an incident of small success, but it took away a lot of accumulated powers out of me. Thank God, I had them little in reserve due to the successful sadhana and purascharana I did for the past few months at KD Ghat. This creation is not a one-man play. All the three energies work in synchronization of every single creature to survive in this cosmos. Anyone among them not working, going or moving away from the establishment will lead to doom. I told them, as a result of long sadhana I just did before coming here, the elemental force of creation, Shishti Shakti, Brahma Shakti, the ability to create, got awakened in me, of course by chance, not by choice. It can happen in anyone if they do intense sadhana systematically. I am not an exception. Creation cannot live without a sustainer. Creativity cannot exist by its own accord. So, to behold the created, so it could travel till its destination is reached, a sustainer, the Vishnu is a must. In my case, by oversight, out of over-enthusiasm, I have forgotten to bifurcate the available source of energy before the attempt was made, because immediately after the creative process is completed, the sustaining energy should take care of the created. But once the cat is out, you cannot amend your sankalpa. It is not allowed. This is where I missed the link, but I am satisfied with the result, but ashamed for violating the established code of nature. But I am happy in this regard that I have had a first-hand experience of the veracity of Mantra Shastra, that they are equally effective, applicable, and relevant even today, but all depend upon the thoroughness with which we acquire this knowledge from a competent authority. Our failures cannot be attributed to scriptures. In spirituality, it is a point which has to be remembered with caution. Otherwise, one will end insulting rishis, incurring their retribution. So, Sthiti Shakti, that is Vishnu Shakti, the authority to protect and sustain, was not with me or not taken care of, so I failed to keep the butterfly to live little longer. They felt satisfied with the explanation I gave too, and with the path they left. But I did remorse. I went against the law of the nature, as I am not supposed to attempt such things. I felt I have wasted my earnings on pitfalls, expecting, attempting, developing interest in such things, a big downfall for any sadhak who started walking this path with the single pointed desire of gaining enlightenment. But a solace, I tried only to prove the power of Mantra Shakti even in this age of less, and at the time of so-called development in science of destruction, so that some wavering sadhak with meaningless modern education may drift in the middle. So this may help to encourage them, and out of routine attempt, we to succeed in our effort of constructing a new era of spiritual science. Such things are necessary. I beg pardon from my Guru Mandali for violating the laws of nature and scriptures. It is the end of chapter 29. This chapter is filled with many pearls of spiritual wisdom. In the life story of the Avaduta with immense physical strength, he went with the guidance of his inner voice and built the rooms, though he always stayed under the tree. He selflessly gave it away to the sadhus in need. There was no calculation or expectation in his action. This is selfless act. Power of selfless acts are not felt immediately. It comes in unknown ways. Because of the Avaduta's selfless act, he was absolved of his past sins. But an act done purely with an intent and expectation to absolve their sins, is it selfless? Something to think about. But for sure, it is a good start. We also saw when something is acquired through wrong ways will have its consequences. Wrong means is not just using tantra in tamasic ways, but anything against our conscience. The impact of our actions is again not direct. The person mentioned in this chapter, he wanted money and he got lots of it through wrong means, but peace was lost in the form of his family. We have a tendency to overvalue the useless material things and undervalue the power of peace. Another beautiful one in this chapter is the butterfly incident. Through the power of mantras and the process mentioned in the scriptures, Guruji was able to revive the butterfly from the dead's hands, even though it's for a moment in his first ever try with no external guidance. There is no limit to the possibilities in the spiritual realm. The limit is only in us and in our minds. If you enjoyed this video, please do share with your family and friends. Chapter 30 will be released next Sunday. Jai Ma.